There's something wrong with Mario 64. Not in an obvious way, not in a glitchy, broken way, but in a way that's hard to explain. Because for a game that looks so colorful, so simple, so nostalgic, it can feel strangely empty, uncomfortable, almost like you're not supposed to be there. And once you notice it, you can't unsee it. Super Mario 64 is one of the most iconic games ever made. For most people, it's pure nostalgia, but over time, more and more players have started noticing something else. A strange feeling while playing it. Not exactly fear, but something close. At first, nothing seems wrong. You enter the castle, the music is calm, but then you start to notice the silence. Rooms feel too big, hallways feel too empty. There are long stretches where nothing happens. No characters, no movement, just you and the space around you. And that space feels unnatural, not because of what's there, but because of what's missing. There's a term for this kind of feeling: liminal spaces. Places that are meant to be full of life, but aren't. Think of empty schools, abandoned buildings, hallways with no one in them. Your brain recognizes the environment, but something about it is wrong. And your brain doesn't like wrong. Mario 64 creates this constantly. The castle feels like it should be populated, but it isn't. The worlds feel like they should be active, but they're quiet. It feels like you're somewhere you're not supposed to be, or like you arrived too early or too late. One of the biggest reasons the game feels unsettling is how empty it is. There's almost nothing happening in the background. No ambient life. No random NPCs walking around. Just static environments. And that emptiness creates pressure. Because when nothing is happening, your brain starts filling in the gaps. Every sound feels louder. Every movement feels more noticeable. And the longer you stay in one place, the more it feels like something should happen, but it doesn't. Take places like Peach's castle. It's supposed to feel like a living hub, but most of it is just silence. Long hallways with nothing going on. Empty rooms with paintings that feel like they're watching you. And corridors that lead into areas that feel disconnected from everything else. It doesn't feel alive. It feels paused. Or think about Whomp's Fortress, a giant structure floating in the sky. But when you actually play it, there's very little happening on it. A few enemies placed far apart, huge empty gaps between platforms, and long stretches where you're just moving forward with nothing reacting to you. It feels more like a set piece than a world. Even levels that should feel active, like Jolly Roger Bay, don't really change that. An ocean, a shipwreck, underwater ruins, but almost no life. No constant movement. Just you swimming through large, quiet spaces. It should feel busy, but it feels suspended in time. And that pattern repeats everywhere. Big spaces, few characters, long stretches of silence. And that combination slowly starts to feel unnatural. Because your brain expects games to be filled with activity, even small background details. But Mario 64 often gives you nothing but space. And that space starts to feel heavier the longer you stay in it. Another big reason the game feels off is the way the world behaves. Not in a broken way, but in a way that feels slightly unnatural. The camera is a big part of that. It doesn't always do what you expect. Sometimes it moves on its own. Sometimes it gets stuck at awkward angles, or slowly shifts without you fully controlling it. And because of that, it can feel like you're not fully in control of what you're seeing. Like something else is choosing how the world is shown to you. You notice this a lot in places like Big Boo's Haunt. Tight rooms, strange camera angles, moments where the camera doesn't quite show what you want to see. It creates this subtle feeling that you're being guided instead of exploring freely. Then there's the way the game looks. Textures are blurry. Objects have strange proportions. Faces stretch and distort when you get close. Even Mario himself can look unnatural when the camera zooms in too far. Not scary on purpose, but just wrong enough to feel uncomfortable. This becomes more noticeable in levels like Hazy Maze Cave, a confusing layout, foggy areas that limit what you can see, and spaces that feel disconnected from each other. It's easy to lose your sense of direction there, not because it's hard, but because it doesn't feel grounded. Sound also plays a role. Music doesn't always stay consistent. It fades in and out. Sometimes it disappears completely, leaving you in silence for a few seconds. And those moments feel longer than they should. Even movement can feel slightly off. Sliding physics, delayed reactions, the way Mario turns or stops. It all works, but not perfectly, and those tiny imperfections add up. Individually, none of this is that strange, but together, it creates a world that feels unstable, like it's constantly shifting just slightly out of place. Not enough to break immersion, but enough to make you question it. And that's what makes it unsettling. Not because the game is trying to scare you, but because it never feels completely natural. It feels like a world that almost makes sense, but never fully does. Over time, people started noticing this feeling, and naturally, they tried to explain it. Theories started appearing that the game feels alive, that something is hidden beneath the surface, that every copy is somehow different. Most of these aren't real, but they come from something real. Because when a game makes you feel something you can't fully explain, your brain starts looking for answers. It tries to turn that feeling into a story, something you can understand, something you can point to and say, "That's why it feels like this." But with Mario 64, there isn't a clear answer. No hidden secret that explains everything. No single reason that makes the feeling go away. Instead, it's a combination of small things. The emptiness, the silence, the unnatural design, all working together in a way that wasn't fully intentional, but still feels meaningful. And that's why it stays with you. Because it doesn't try to scare you. It just creates a world. That feels familiar enough to recognize, but strange enough to never fully understand. And once you notice that feeling, you start to question it. Not just the game, but your memory of it. Was it always like this? Or are you only seeing it now? And if it was always there, why didn't you notice it before? And maybe that's what makes it so strange. Not that Mario 64 is trying to be unsettling, but that it never tries to explain itself. It just leaves you there, in a world that feels slightly incomplete, slightly unnatural, like something is missing, or something was never meant to be found. And even after you leave it, that feeling doesn't really go away. It just stays with you.